Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
and
glad to
so
have
we,
you.
we wanted her this time, and welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you briefly my story.
yeah,
Is
please.
back in February of 1999, I came over to see Dr. Richardson, in fact, and he did an examination on me that day. And the first thing that really shocked me is I weighed in at about 192 pounds. And so I thought that was going to be the real low point of my day. But that wasn't near as bad as what he told me later, because he found a large lump in my left breast and a large clump of tumors on my cervix. And in fact was very alarmed by what he saw then, and recommended that I go, and I got another opinion. I actually ended up going to, including you, Dr. Richardson, 3 different doctors.
Right.
And we did every,
Right.
I said we did every gram known to man, the mammograms, the sonograms, the ultrasounds, all the blood work and everything.
Yeah.
And I was told then by a couple of the doctors that I needed to go right in. They said, look, let's operate.
Yeah.
And sign a consent form, and when you wake up, you'll find out what body parts are missing, and then we'll decide what drugs and so forth. And I decided that that was really not what I wanted to do.
Right.
And there had been a history with my mom and some of her sisters in having breast cancer and problems with cervical or uterine or ovarian cancers, and having to have hysterectomies and mastectomies and doing the drugs and so forth.
Listen closely,
And-
folks.
And I'll tell you what, I went to the health food store, and I found a little book called How I Conquered Cancer Naturally.
Eddie May.
Eddie May.
Eddie May. Yeah,
And when
we
I
carry
read that book,
That's right.
I was like, this really spoke to me. I know you've all probably,
Wrong.
yeah, you've had something you read before and you thought,
Yeah.
now I really know what this
You know.
is. On some level,
That's
this
right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I called the Ann Wigmore Foundation,
Yeah.
found out that the one in Boston had burned and they were building a new one out in New Mexico. This was February. They weren't going to be ready for me until May. And I said, put me on the list. What do I do in the meantime? And they recommended some books, the Wheatgrass book by Ann Wigmore, and Be Your Own Doctor, and Why
Right,
Suffer,
right.
and
Read those,
started
yeah.
reading all those books. A great book that Dr. Richardson recommended, The Mucusless Diet
Yeah,
by
Arnold
Earhart.
Earhart.
Read that one.
Great.
And started drinking wheatgrass juice
Yeah.
and eating as much raw food as I could.
Right.
And I'll tell you, before this happened to me, though, I was a vegan. And I was thinking, if you're a vegan, oh, you're healthy. But I was cooking all my food, or most all of my food. And what I found out is I went out to the Ann Wigmore Institute, and all these things you're saying, Dr. Richardson, are so true. You are right on. And I didn't know any of that stuff back in February of last year. So thanks to you opening the door for me to start getting some training and learning, I found out about enzymes, and that when we cook them, we kill them. And that we also destroy 90% of the nutritional value in our food when we cook our food.
Yeah.
And so, long story short is I embraced the program. I am 100% raw, but hey guys, now don't get afraid by that, because I had to transition, and you transition wherever you are. I tell people, start where you are and then do the best you can. As you start feeling how good these foods make you feel, you'll want to do more and more. Now, here's the good news. Even just within a month, the tumor in my breast had gone down from over the size of a half a dollar to the size of the end of my little finger. I mean, just that quickly. The bleeding I was having from my cervical tumors in about 4 weeks had completely gone away. And all these other things started happening. My gray hair started turning back to its original color. I had worn glasses since I was age 12. My long vision went back to 20/20. I didn't even have to use my glasses anymore. I use my reading glasses now some, but I'm finding more and more I don't need those. I'd had depression all my life, but never admitted it. Never took a drug or anything for it, but it always plagued me, and especially every month, okay? I'd get some depression. Never had any more depression with this. No more PMS problems with it. Started sleeping all the way through the night, soundly, without having to get up to go to the bathroom. Began to have energy and really want to feel good. In 90 days of working really to dissolve those tumors, that weight went from 192 to 117. And I'll tell you, I've struggled with my weight all my life. I've gained and lost 2 or 3 people. I've been the big yo-yo girl. Gain it, lose it, gain that, plus more back. With living foods, I found out that it's the enzymes that help you to lose the weight. Okay? If you don't have enzymes, you don't lose. And if you don't have enzymes, you don't gain weight.
Well, we're going to we really look forward to hearing more from you, and we're going to be discussing live and raw living foods on this show. And this is Dr. William Richardson and guest, and we're on WCLK 91.9 FM, and we'll be back.
Food.
Yeah, I just want the public to know what we're talking about, folks. Cleansing and detoxification, the living food, the juicing, the mind, body, spirit, all these kind of things. A long time ago in the United States, when the medical industry wasn't so prominent, and I'm sorry I said industry, but that's what I mean, the medical industry wasn't so prominent, there were sanitariums in that where people could go and they could fast, or they could go get on the proper diet, or they could go get their colonics and cleansing and detoxification and herbs and all this kind of thing. And that's the way a lot of the healing centers were set up. And it has changed now. Now, there's still all that available because that's basically what we're all doing around this table and the people that we know. But unfortunately, a lot of us have been duped and sucked into the medical system where it's basically disease management, crisis intervention, and suppressive symptom therapy. And they don't get to the root cause of the problems.
No.
You know.
And they don't see what happened was that was with the advent of certain antibiotics.
Right.
They used to have to spend a lot of time and energy in healing TB, tuberculosis, or pneumonia. Now, when a doctor could just write a prescription or just scribble a few lines, and that knocks out that pneumonia in a few days, but then that person may come back later with tumors and all types of other stuff.
And that's what they do.
And that's what's happening. So they threw the baby out with the water, and they should have combined it a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So what we're talking about is your health tonight, folks. We're talking about the real stuff. We're talking about something you can do for yourself. We're talking about how you can avoid cancer, how you can avoid the chronic degenerative illnesses. All these people getting Alzheimer's and senility and blood pressure and all this stuff doesn't have to happen. By and large, 99% of it doesn't have to happen, you know?
You know, disease is caused from toxicity and deficiency within the body. It just manifests in all of us as different symptoms.
It sure does.
So somebody gets diabetes, and somebody else gets heart disease, and somebody else gets cancer. That still means we're toxic, we're deficient. So we need to detoxify, and we need to build our bodies back up, and we can do that with raw and living foods.